fish on.
Really nice looking fish.
Woo! I love it.
That's a hog.
Woo! Oh yeah, bring him up to me. It's a nice fish.
Nice job. That is a tank.
Nice job, you two.
Lund Boats proudly presents the ultimate fishing experience. This week on Lund's The Ultimate Fishing Experience. Lake Sinclair is a top destination for muskie anglers for two compelling reasons: numbers and size. Multiple fish days are not uncommon, including occasional outings that can even tally into the double digits. Lund Pro Joel Piotek and Billy Rose Jr. of Rose Marine attempt what they call the Lake Sinclair Triple Crown: walleye, smallmouth, and muskies in one day. But with the Canadian border closed, over 2/3 of the lake, including much of the best, deeper, cooler water that midsummer muskies prefer, is inaccessible. This will make finding and landing a muskie more challenging than usual. Regardless, Lake Sinclair is a multi-species sport fishing paradise and guarantees not to disappoint.
Multi-species right there, Billy. Boy, that is a dandy. Hey, it's Captain Joel Pytak, Fish Head, Sport Fishing Charters. This is my good friend Billy Rose of Rose Marine, and we're on Lake Sinclair today, the highest density of muskies than anywhere in the country. But, however, we've had some really challenging conditions lately that may prove muskie fishing to be pretty tough. If it does prove to be a challenge, we probably are going to switch gears and go after some of our other great sport fish like walleyes or even smallmouth bass. Lake Sinclair is a great fishery for sport fishing, so it should prove to be an excellent day today. Ready to get after it, Billy?
Let's go.
So, Billy, you know, we're looking at mid-July. It's a very non-typical year when it comes to muskie fishing, especially being that the border is closed. You know, normally we're focusing on that really deep water of Lake Sinclair where it's really cold at this particular time, but we don't have that water. Generally, we're trolling out here, right?
Yeah.
You know, I do a lot of trolling in Lake Sinclair and have been doing that for, 42 years. You know, being that we've had some challenging weather conditions, storms, high winds, that's played into the benefit of this because we have some off-colored water, which is absolutely critical for muskie fishing, and hopefully land something like we've had on the last couple of days with some nice fish that are in the high 40s. Lake Sinclair being huge, you know, there's 430 square miles. There's a lot of area. Of course, more than 2/3 of it is closed off to us with the border being closed. But however, I think we're going to do really good. We got humid conditions here. If the wind stays down, you know, it should prove to be pretty productive, I believe. Hopefully we can pull off some good fishing here today. Yesterday was pretty adverse conditions while we casted all day, and some pretty high winds. We had some storm fronts coming through, so it made it real challenging. We did raise one fish, but that was it. So today what we're gonna do is something that was one of my favorites, being that we've grown up on the lake and we have such a great sport fishing lake out here. We're gonna go after what I call the Triple Crown. We're gonna start off bottom bouncing for walleyes, then we're gonna switch over throwing some baits for smallmouth bass, and then later on in the morning switch over to trolling for muskies. So should be a great day, should be action-packed, and looking forward to catching some of these great sport fish that we have for Lake Sinclair.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly.
So what we're doing is we're bottom bouncing. We're bottom bouncing one of these deep river systems that's part of the tributary of the St. Clair River. The current in here is pretty swift. It's generally about 1.8 miles an hour. So we have to be kind of cooking along just a little bit faster than the current to be able to spin those blades. So our spread that we're running, we got 2 short rods running right off the back. I have those on 3-ounce bottom bouncers. And then our outside rods, those are 8.5s, and we're running those with 4-ouncers. That heavier weight's gonna get you down quicker and keep you closer to the bottom on a more steep angle of your rod. So something that's ultimately critical, especially in this type of situation that we're dealing with, winds coming into the current, we're in a deep channel, we wanna hug the drop-off or weed lines. Boat control is absolutely critical in my opinion. So, you know, I'm using my remote to maintain a constant speed. The autopilot keeps me headed in the direction that I need to be going downstream. so that I can keep trolling at a consistent speed to keep our baits going the way that we need to get the best presentation for.
You want this one, Joel?
No, go ahead. You hooked up?
Yep.
Got him? There we go. Nice. And there you go. That's part of an example of right there of absolutely critical boat control. You probably caught me a couple of times always looking at my remote to see where my speed is, looking at my graph to maintain that we're staying on the same heading to make sure that we're staying right on the fish the whole time. Oh, that's a good fish. Ready? Got it. Nice fish. That's a nice fish, Billy. Here we go. Fish on. Oh, another nice one. Seems like a decent fish. You know, my harnesses that I'm running right now are only one hook. So you don't want to pull too hard on there, especially with the current. Boy, he's fighting really nice.
Pull him up.
Nice. That's a great fish. Good quality fish at this time of the year, and he choked that bait down. So at this time of the year, we don't really get a whole lot of large fish. You know, every once in a while, we're gonna get something that's gonna be in the 4-pound range. That's a great size class fish for this time of the year for us. You know, you've heard me talk a lot about Lake St. Clair being a multi-species lake, and it is exactly that. I spend a lot of time muskie fishing, but my real bread and butter, and probably one of the most sought after species that I fish for most, would be walleyes. We got a world-class walleye fishery. In fact, I start fishing walleyes in Lake Erie, and as that migration moves into the Detroit River, I spend about 2 months on the Detroit River walleye jigging and vertical jigging for walleyes. And then we'll chase that migration as it moves into Lake St. Clair. We'll switch over to trolling crankbaits. And then also, as we're doing here today, bottom bouncing. And we'll follow that migration all the way up to the Lake Huron. Just a tremendous, great fishery, has an abundance of fish, a wide variety of size class too. Obviously, earlier on in the year, we're catching the larger fish, the more mature fish. And typically those fish will move back down into Lake Erie as they move into the Detroit River. But you know, these are great size fish from 14 to 24 inches, 26 inches. We get a lot of great size class walleyes.
Here, right here. Outside.
There's a fish. This has got some weight to it. What is this? This isn't our typical walleye here. Up top already. Oh, big smallmouth. Big smallie. That's one of the great things about here. I'll tell you, you can catch some giant smallmouth in these deep river systems. This is a big one. Looked to me like when it came up that we might be looking at something that could go 20 inches. Nice smallie. Multi-species right there, Billy. Boy, that is a dandy. Now, that is a dandy, just come off. Now I'm gonna tell you what right there. That is something that is a great specimen of Lake St. Clair. One of my favorite fish out here, smallmouth, and that is a giant. Catching this great smallmouth right here, I think it's a good indication the walleyes are kind of slowing down a little bit once that sun got high. I think this big girl right here just gave us the indication that we should be going smallmouth fishing. So let's get on the second leg of that Triple Crown. That's a great smallmouth bass right there. Awesome. That is awesome. He threw it.
Nope, he's there. He's there.
Nice one, Billy.
Yeah, he's got good pull.
All right, right on the edge of a weed line. Oh, there's another one right down there. Nice one.
Get that tube going.
I'm just trying to get yours in there. Here we go. Here we go.
I can probably get.
There we go.
You got him.
Had another one following right up, right on it. Oh, there he is. Fish on. Oh, there's another one right alongside of him. You know, here it is, world-class fishery, sport fish, walleyes, smallmouth, muskies as well, and we're gonna get after those here in just a little bit. Nice fish. When Billy caught his on a jerk bait, and I ended up hooking up mine on a Ned rig. There we go. Which one's bigger? Oh, mine's bigger.
Oh, not by
Yeah,
much.
I got him. I got him.
2-1.
Nice job, Billy. That was a good double up, eh?
Yeah.
Typical smallmouth for Lake St. Clair right there. Beautiful fish. Awesome. So we just doubled up on a couple of nice smallies. 2 different methods, too. But what it was, actually, we were working a sand flat up here and just noticed a new weed bed that had emerged. I haven't seen that weed bed out in this area before. We could just see the coloration on the top of the water. We just started creeping up over to the edge a little bit more towards it, and that's when Billy hooked up on that jerkbait. And obviously, a lot of times when you find one fish, there's other around there.
Yeah, I think there's a couple more in there. Let's get back at it.
Catching a couple of smallmouth like that, probably my favorite fish to catch on the lake, smallmouth. Pound for pound, they're awesome fighters. You and I had both grown up on the lake. This is something that we've done as kids, you know, with our hats on, running canals, running bass baits, and thinking we're Roland Martin and Jimmy Houston out here chucking baits all the time. And we've just been very, very fortunate to fish this area, which is a world-class fishery. Oh, there's one, small one. Got him. Hooked up there. Followed that jerkbait right off the weeds. Got a bad fish.
Nope.
I don't get to reel in too many fish as the charter captain, so this is a treat for me. A lot of times I got to calm my clients down because they want to hurry up and reel them in and get them in as fast as they can. They see it. Oh, nice snag, Billy. He jumped right in the net. But a lot of times, you know, people want to get them in. They're worried about getting them in the net right away. But you know, like I tell them, stop, enjoy the fight. It's probably the only fight that you're gonna want to enjoy, unless you're an MMA fighter for that matter. But just a great, great example of a Lake St. Clair smallmouth right there. Excellent fish. Gone. So we've been throwing, we got to this weed bed here. Initially we hooked up on a fish, throwing a jerkbait, you know, medium-lipped crankbait, minnow type bait. And then once we did hook up on that fish, we got a couple other rods here that we had set up with plastics. We got a Ned rig and a tube. You know, tube and green pumpkin out here is probably one of the best go-tos for smallmouth, but so many times, especially in fishing, especially in my line of work as a charter captain, you know, it's go, 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 go. And yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to slow down, really work some stuff from a finesse standpoint, and take your time and, if you will, take it all in. There's so many days that I'm out here, you just look around and it's a beautiful lake, tremendous fishery. Billy and I are very fortunate to be able to call this our home lake where we actually grew up. Yeah, this is what we did all summer long as kids right here. Got up in the morning, we'd have breakfast at one of my buddy's places, we'd jump on our boat, which was a 14, 16-foot aluminum, throw our 2 labs in the boat and take off for the day just to get back in time to do our chores and eat dinner. And you know, I don't know that there's any other better way to, as a kid that likes the outdoors and hunting and fishing, to grow up. There we go, fish on. Switched over to the cranks and body baits and imitating shad, and one of their favorite forage is spot-tail shiner. He's just got, looks like one hook right on the side of the mouth there in the corner. Just careful, Billy, when he comes up. I'm gonna take it easy, but make sure that hook doesn't come flying out. Nice fish. I think it's as big as the other one, but just barely hooked. There you go, bud. Nice job. Excellent. Yeah, he ain't a whopper, but you know what? I love the fight. Careful of those hooks. Nice scrapper. So we caught some pretty good smallmouth here. Maybe it's the time that we should start trolling for some of these muskies to put the final nail in the coffin of the Triple Crown out here. What do you think, Billy?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So Billy, today the conditions are a lot lighter than what we had yesterday, but yesterday we were looking at some 3 and 4 footers that we were casting in all day. And you know, that's something to be said. The boat that we're fishing out of is the Lund 219 GL. It's almost a 22-foot fiberglass boat, and I've been fishing out of these boats for 6 years now, and I can tell you what, this thing's a battleship and also a Ferrari at the same time. It's really built for big water. You know, here on the Great Lakes, we see a lot of adverse conditions that make it very challenging to be in certain specific types of boats, but this boat handles very, very well in these types of conditions. It's a multi-species boat, deep V boat, that handles rough water really well. It's very, very stable, as we saw yesterday. We have gear for walleyes, smallmouth, and muskies, trolling operation that consists of a lot of gear, and it's stuffed in all these compartments that we have here. The rod locker's really huge. We got a lot of storage up in front part of the boat here, and I can't tell you enough how happy I am to run this boat.
Joel has gone with the 400 Verado. 400 Verado has been manufactured by Mercury for the last couple years. It's based off their L6 design. The L6 Verado has been around for close to 15 years now, so it's very proven, reliable outboard. It uses the power steering and the digital throttle and shift, so it's whole digital network for it with digital gauges. It's also equipped with the 15 EFI remote kicker. Attached to it for an additional accessory, we were running the iTroll system, which we've run before. That has a servo that we digitally control our speed up, speed down. We've actually added the tail fin by Powertrain this year. So our steering and everything is real precise. We can do it right from the iTroll, or it's actually even done remotely, so we can walk throughout the boat anywhere and control it with precision and ease.
It is the boat for this type of water, bar none. We're trolling for muskies. Yesterday we casted all day long. We had some very adverse conditions, pretty challenging conditions to say the least. So what we decided to do today was pull out multiple rods, cover a lot of area, and one of my favorite methods is trolling. We're using large boards, planer boards that I've actually made to get our lines outside of the spread of the boat, give us a little bit more of a reach. Essentially what I'm doing here is I'm using offshore releases that are typically used for salmon fishing to run my lines outside these planer boards. So on the outsides, I run them really high. I'm using very light weights, maybe 1 ounce or 2 ounce weights. And as I progressively start to move closer towards the boat, I'm using heavier weights to still run those baits down deeper into the water column. Essentially covering, there you go, fish on.
Just take it, Joel. Reel that in.
Fish on. Slow us down, Billy.
Gotcha.
This is on our high board right here.
We just went through about a 1.5 foot drop in water depth right there too.
Slow us down, slow us down.
Gotcha.
Oh, I lost it. Oh my God, we lost it. Just come unbuttoned. It was barely hooked. I saw it on the side of its face. Oh man, we've been fishing hard. We've been fishing hard just for that one bite and just hooked up. Oh, we saw that fish on the end. It wasn't a giant fish, but it was in the 40s, probably low 40s range. But so, that being said, that was on our high rod. I'm gonna call it our high bait because we were only running 2 ounces on the outside. Man, we've been working real hard for that bite. It was almost a triple crown right there. But just to pick up to where I was talking about, as I move progressively towards the boat, I'm using heavier weights to get those baits down in the water column. Once I get to the boat, I got 2 very unique setups, and you may have caught it on the other episode that I was showing with Lund Boats as we trolled, but I got a down rod right here with a 12-ounce cannonball. That drops basically essentially right behind the boat in the prop wash. And my long rod, which is a 10-footer, we're running that anywhere from 20 to 30 back with a 2 to 3 ounce weight. So it's a little bit farther back, but essentially fishing right behind the boat. And I can tell you what, out of all the years that I've been fishing for muskies, I've never had back-to-back days where we haven't landed a fish on this lake system. And we went at it really, really hard. But we had a great morning catching smallmouth and walleyes, you know, but we switched over and we knew muskie fishing was gonna be tough, but little did I know that it was gonna be this difficult. But you gotta pull out every stop that you possibly can. work hard at it, cover a lot of ground, switch up your techniques, and go hard at it. That's the only way that you're gonna be successful. Always think out of the box, always change constantly. If it's not working for you at that moment, switch it up. But, you know, the first time ever in over 40 years of fishing this lake that I could say that I actually come up blank on muskies in 2 days. Unheard of. It's probably payback for that stellar show that we did with Lund last time where we landed 7 fish. 3 of them were bombers pushing 50 inches, 1 over 50. You know, payback time, I guess. You can't always get them. Excellent fishing out here, Lake St. Clair, world-class fishery. I don't care what game fish species you're going after. It is one of the best lakes in the country, bar none. Thanks for giving it a go, Billy.
Yeah, thank you.
Had a great time fishing with you, buddy.
You too, thanks.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like more information, check out lundboats.com or these other online outlets.